Hey guys, gals, company pals, and all my friends and folks out there. Welcome back to another amazing Hopes Loves Talks. So, for the last couple of episodes, we've really honed in on how characters need to be created and built, and how we can build these things, and also why they need to be this way for our stories. With all of that finally starting to really come together and sink in, now is the time to talk about powerful characters, powerful stories, and why they're so powerful, and how to make your story just as powerful as that too. Now breathe. I know you could say, hey, Hope, love that you're doing this, but I already have a powerful story, okay? And while that's great, and it's amazing that you think it's powerful and that you see it as powerful, and I know, and I can definitely vouch for it, that other people see the power in your story. Hold up. There are still some things to be learned. And we can take many accounts from other, things like plays and songs and movies to see how characters can act and how maybe a melody could be or a counter melody could be. The big thing is, if you know your characters and you know where your plot's going, you should know what the character's message should be to not only the characters, but also to the audience. No. Okay. So, think about a good example of a powerful story and a powerful character. Like this week, my history teacher conveniently went to see Hamilton. And she came back, with that before Hamilton life and after Hamilton life. If you've ever gone into Hamilton and gotten into that fandom, you know what I'm talking about. Because yes, the play has its own fandom. Please don't see me. It's also good at them. But she was talking about how powerful the George Washington character was. And his message not only to all of the characters in the story, but also to the audience. About how you can't always pick who lives or dies. You can't play God. You have to go by ear sometimes. You have to plan ahead. You can't choose to always martyr yourself out. You have to be smart. You have to be strategically sound, and you can't really give people a reason to crucify you. And sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut and to write about it and have 10,000 drafts of saying one thing to one person rather than just hot micing it. And that can be viewed from the characters' perspectives, but also the audience's perspectives. We can see how the characters interact with the audience and each other, and that's very important. We talked about relationships between characters and what characters are supposed to do. But if we know the traits of the character, we obviously know, okay, what are they trying to show this character? If this character, per se, is trying to be like, okay, so the world is great, but not everything is as great as it seems. They're obviously trying to show that the character that they're talking to, that there is a darker side to life, and that it's great that you're always so happy, but you still have to acknowledge that these people are suffering, that this is happening, that maybe this person, this character, so-and-so, isn't the best for you, isn't the one that you want to hang out with. That's what the character is really trying to do. He or they are doing it in a very direct way, intentionally telling this character, hey, you might not want to do this. You might not want to do that. All people aren't that great. People are good. Never lose that in your brain. But not all people are that great, and you can't change everyone. Now, indirectly, to the audience, what we're hearing is one, so-and-so in the back corner over there who's doing some really creepy stuff, who shouldn't be doing creepy stuff, isn't good morally, probably. And 2, it's definitely not good for this character. What the audience also grips from that is that, A, the world is an amazing place. Don't forget that people and humans are amazing. They're a great species. But don't also forget that we can be just as bad as we are good. This is a whole entire balancing morality thing. The characters are talking about this when it comes to one person, but when it comes to the audience, this is broad. And you have to be able to be like, self-insert. You have to be, it's great to relax sometimes. It is, don't get me wrong, but procrastination isn't good for you. Plan ahead so then you are able to rest. Or it could be like, it's great to work sometimes, and you could be really good at what you do, have a high work ethic, but overworking is bad for your health. And you have to realize that, there are some bad and some good benefits from this. You really just need to be in the middle. This character is trying to talk about duality and balancing things. This is a balancing act. And here, in this situation, it's between people. If it's in between people, then how do we give this character a powerful moment to have these powerful words so then our audience really does not only acknowledge that, but also fully gets into that? Well, that is all about setting up a scene. You have to have one scene planned out. Like all writers, all, playwrights, all authors, all song artists who have come before, you have to have this moment that you're waiting for. There has to be this one fact, this one thing that is going to happen. You've been planning, you've been seeing this happen for this one character, or it might affect this one character. And you don't know exactly what this character is going to say, but you know what they're going to do. You know that this character is trying to shine the light on duality. So you need to have a moment where duality is needed most. You don't need to have two people arguing with each other, but maybe you need some bigger situation, like somebody's life is on the line, and you have to think about ethics or morality. You have to think, okay, so, just because this person is bad doesn't mean that, we should kill them. But also, just because this person is bad doesn't, just because this person isn't all that bad and they're still a human doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep them from the rest of society so then they don't screw with everybody else's lives. You need something that directly correlates to what your character is speaking and talking about throughout the whole entire story, through that whole entire arc, to let them shine. So then not only the characters, but the whole entire audience can just bask in that glory. They may say things that are super wise time to time within the story, but your audience is only going to make notes of that unless you use really super in-depth imagery to make that, embedded in their mind. And you can. But nothing stains the mind more like this one moment where all of these things are culminating together, where the whole entire world makes sense, where all the stars are aligned and the path is shown and you're moving straight forward, and the character can see it, the other characters can see it, the audience can see it, the world can see it. Everybody can see it. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what the audience has been waiting for. They didn't know that it was going to happen. They weren't really always thinking that this was going to happen. But from the second that we got into this chapter, since we got into this section, since we got into this arc, since we got into this lead-off melody, You could hear, you could get ready, you could infer, maybe, that something big is going to happen. And you can't exactly anticipate it because you don't exactly know what's going to happen. But you could be ready as you make everybody ready. And once they're ready, boom, there goes the dynamite. The whole entire story has absolutely shot off. Your character's like having their baddie wise moment. Your audience is screaming for joy because they're like, oh my gosh, that just happened. And the whole entire world just stops to yell and say, hooray, or to maybe say, oh no. But either way it goes, the whole entire world stops just for that one moment because it's so powerful. Your character is shining in their light. They're talking about the lessons and all of the knowledge that we've gained during this journey. They're finally doing something that's needed to be done this whole entire time. This is something that your character has been working themselves up to and that the audience has been working themselves up to. And now that it's finally come, it's big, it's bold, it's awesome, they're them. The audience is like, they're them, we could be ourselves. They're having this moment where they're connecting two and two and the world makes sense. It's like everything's gone on fire around the story, around the character in such a good way that it just blows up and like the flames just go up and they make this circle and everybody gets higher and they're in the middle of this circle and people like punching their fists up, everybody's raising it, everybody can see the character, everybody can see the plot, and they're just like going anime god mode or whatever in the middle, just like jumping up and flying off, and everybody's literally popping off with them because that moment is so powerful. Because everything aligns, because you've built everything up to that one moment, because you've been waiting for this character to do this one thing, because you know that this character is going to do something like this, and that's their story, and that correlates into what they're teaching everyone, and that's their narrative, and that's their reason for being here, and you built them up to doing it, you built them up to saying that, you built them up to being that, and the audience has been built up for them to be that. Everybody's happy. The crowd goes wild. People roar. It's like your favorite team, who is the underrookie dog, just won, and now they're grand champions, and they're coming on. They have the champion ship wrestler belt on. They're screaming. The crowd is wild. People are wild. Everybody's happy. That is it. Everything has come together. All the characters have come together, and boom, your character said that one thing. Their character said that one thing. They did that one thing. They made that one gesture. And all the characters, just like the rest of the audience, like everybody who's watching, the whole entire world, they stopped to rally around it. Because finally, after all of this work, after all of these things that we have been working on, that we've been thinking about, that we've been learning, all these things that have been somewhat imprinted and embedded in our mind, finally, the stain, the everlasting stain, the everlasting impact has come to pass because this character has done what they needed to do this whole entire time, what they said they were going to do this whole entire time, but we weren't sure it was going to happen. And they did it because they knew it was right, and they knew that that was for them, and they knew that they had to be better. They had to be worse in their own way. They had to do them. They had to do you. And the whole entire audience is screaming like crazy. Because finally, what your character's been working for, what your character's been working up for, what the audience has been working for, what they've been working up for has happened. That has happened not only for that character, not only for these characters, not only for your audience, but the whole entire world. This has led to it. This is the spark. This thing may be a spark, but itself, it is its own flame. And it is rampant, it is raging, and the whole entire world can feel it. And that is what a powerful moment is made of. I'll see you next time.